Almost 200 people detained in Dominica for breaking curfew and looting in the wake of Hurricane Maria. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Friday, October 20. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Police in Dominica have detained more than 100 people for breaking a 12-hour curfew and arrested more than 80 others for looting as the island continues its efforts at rebuilding following the passage of Hurricane Maria on September 18. Acting Deputy Police Commissioner Davidson Valerie said on state-owned DBS radio that while the death toll from the hurricane officially remains at 26, the number of people missing have risen by 2 to 34.
The laws remain that people are to be indoors at 6 p.m. and should not be found outdoors before 6 a.m. So we want to encourage all residents to comply with the law and to ensure that they are not in breach of the curfew order. We continue to have persons who are in violation, and to date we have arrested 101 persons for curfew violations. And these people will have to face the court and pay the penalty for being in violation of the curfew order. And you know the penalty is 6 months and $5,000. So this is a hefty fine. It's fine and confinement. People are not to take this lightly. There is a serious consequence for the violation of the curfew order.
Valerie said police arrested 89 people for looting following the passage of the Category 5 storm.
In terms of the criminal offenses being committed immediately after the passage of Maria, we found that persons have been involved in a lot of looting. Dominica has suffered tremendously because of this. And the police have been out conducting searches and recovering a number of items that have been stolen. Just last week I appealed and I called upon residents to return to the police appliances and other items which they were in possession of illegally. So I have asked residents to return those to the police, or they will have the police obtain the items from them, from the residents. So the police are in the process of doing just that. We've gone quite a bit, and we are not going to relent. We're going to find those items that people have stolen and prosecute people who have been involved in this illegal activity.
Regional airline Liat is set to receive a $7 million loan from the Caribbean Development Bank, the CDB. The 15-year-old loan was secured by the shareholder governments of Antigua and Barbuda and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Liat's chairman, Vincentian Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonzalez, said the airline had been expected to record profit of $1 million this year. But following the passage of Hurricane Irma and Maria, which affected its services to Dominica, St. Martin, Tortola, and Puerto Rico, the airline is now forecast to lose an estimated $13 million. The shareholder governments will be responsible for servicing the CDB loan. Antigua and Barbuda will be responsible for $2.4 million, Barbados $3.72 million, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines $840,000. Over in Guyana, the Public Service Union has rejected 2 pay hike offers, but the government has settled on a final offer for public servants. And Minister of State Joseph Harmon says a minimum wage increase is also in the works. To get the details in this HGP Nightly News report.
When the coalition took government in 2015, the minimum wage was $35,000. Here is the announcement of the increase by Minister Joseph Harmon during the weekly post-cabinet media briefing.
For persons who are within the salary range of $55,566 to $99,999 and 8%. For persons in the range of $100,000 to $299,999, an increase of 6%. From $300,000 to $499,999, an increase of 5%. From $500,000 to $600,000, $799,999, an increase of 4%. From 700,000 to 799,999, an increase of 2%. And from 800,000 to 1 million, an increase of 0.5%.
Persons earning in excess of $1 million monthly would not receive an increase, the minister explained. The increase is expected to cost the government $3.5 billion and over 14,000 are to benefit. Permanent Secretary in the Department of the Public Service, Mr. Reginald Broderson, also spoke on the matter at the first briefing.
Government has given this offer based on what the economy can afford. The union, well, they're signaling that they didn't want to accept the 2017 offer because the 26 is income based on the letter that I mentioned that they received. But they have been forced in the collective bargaining process. So we would not, I cannot sit here and pontificate or anticipate what the union is going to do, but it's a process. The bargaining.
The GPSU did not accept the offer on the grounds that the 2016 negotiations have not completed, and therefore the union also did not submit a proposal for 2017. The government and the GPSU haven't met at the bargaining table since early this year, which sparks the question of the short time in which these negotiations took place.
Asian authorities have threatened to prosecute people engaged in criminal activities as protests continue in the country to push for President Jovenel Moise's removal from office. Several people have taken to the streets during the past few days to protest the measure outlined in the 2018 national budget that has already been approved by both houses of Parliament. The protesters are also demanding the release of those jailed as a result of their participation in a demonstration that has resulted in hundreds of people taking to the streets in the capital of Port-au-Prince, as well as in other cities such as Guave, Lekai, Jacmel, Mark, and Cap-Haitien. Increased security measures have been put in place following clashes between the protesters and security forces. Officials have urged victims of the violence to go to the public prosecutor's office to lodge their complaints. They also warned that anyone, including political offenders, organizers, or participants in the violent demonstration will be prosecuted and punished in accordance with the law. Another in over to Nevis now, the main opposition Nevis Reformation Party, the NRP, on Friday accused the Electoral Commission and the newly appointed Supervisor of Elections, Evan Bailey, of engaging in attempts to disenfranchise voters on St. Kitts Sister Isle. The NRP, which is threatening to pursue legal action, has sent complaint letters to Governor General Samuel Seaton, Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris, the Electoral Commission, as well as regional and international organizations. NRP leader Joseph Parry says many young voters are unable to register to vote because equipment at the electoral office in Nevis is not working. The Nevis Island Assembly election is constitutionally due in the next 3 months, and Parry suggested the necessary equipment should be brought over from St. Kitts as federal elections are not constitutionally due until 2020. The opposition party said it sent a letter on Thursday to the supervisor of elections requesting a meeting to discuss these issues, but the supervisor responded that representatives of the Concerned Citizens Movement, which of course is part of the coalition administration in the Twin Island Federation, attend that meeting as well. Parry said he regarded Bailey's response as an insult to him, the Nevis Reformation Party, and to the people of Nevis. He said letters have been sent to the Organization of American States, the OAS, CARICOM, the OECS, and the Commonwealth Secretariat to bring attention to what is happening in Nevis. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, Cable and Wireless assessing its infrastructure in the region following Hurricanes Irma and Maria. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the gem of the Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda. A warm welcome awaits you at our state-of-the-art
Beatty Bird International Airport.
I must say that Antigua is in wonderful shape. 5 minutes off the boat and we're already in paradise.
Antigua was not that damaged by the storm as much as Barbuda was. The hotels are still open, the beaches are still clean, and the people are still friendly.
With Antigua, it's the people that really await you.
Hurricane Irma may have hit a little bit, but you can't even tell that it was ever here. The beach is wonderful. I'm having a great time.
Everything is just as we remember. No storm damage.
We're here and we're open, and we're better than ever.
I do a lot of destination weddings, and I see weddings that happen here, and they would be in love with it.
I can't say enough about how in love with Antigua I am.
It is one nation, two islands, and I'm loving it.
Do you want a real Barbadian experience with peace and tranquility? A home away from home feeling? Come and stay at Best E Villas. We offer 2 amazing locations to choose from, Prospect St. James or Christchurch. Plan a staycation for your anniversary, birthdays, summer or winter breaks, or any special event. Best E Villas is located in close proximity to our lovely beaches. Call us now at 246-425-9751 or visit us at bestevillas.com and make your booking for the best in villas.
Tobago is doing more with less, and the change in format for World Food Day 2017 celebrations is evidence of this. The usual 2-day exhibition and competition was replaced by this mini exhibition at Gardenside Car Park. Patrons still came out to sample and purchase food and other products from our local farmers, agro-processors, and entrepreneurs.
Cable and Wireless, the parent company of Flow, says it's assessing its infrastructure in the region following the recent passage of Category 5 Hurricanes Irma and Maria last month. Regional Director for Grenada and St. Lucia, Juan Bailey, tells CMC News the company is doing post-assessments in all its impacted net markets with a view to building systems to withstand more intense natural disasters.
The severity of the damage that the infrastructure has experienced in these markets, we are doing a comprehensive assessment with a view of how can we rebuild from the ground up to ensure our networks are even more resilient than they currently are. So I can share with you that already we have a very rigid internal process to ensure that our infrastructure is as resilient as possible. We have a regional crisis management team, we have a local crisis management teams in each of our markets, and every year we go through an annual cadence, an annual exercise where we ensure that we have the preparations in place before the hurricane season. And when we get to a tropical storm warning and watch each of those levels, there are very specific tasks and activities which we perform to ensure as much as possible we're prepared for the impact.
A recent conference on the state of the region's tourism industry looked at natural disasters and the impact of the recent hurricanes on the region's tourism sector. One recurrent issue is communication in the aftermath of a disaster.
Most of us communicate via mobile, and as recently demonstrated in the recent impacts of Irma and Maria, those are the devices that our customers, stakeholders, disaster response agencies would go to first. So we would prioritize restoration of our mobile networks, as we've done in the impacted markets, and then move on to our fixed line network.
In Trinidad and Tobago, the outgoing Archbishop of Port of Spain is partly blaming the country's education system for violence among school children. Joseph Harris says trying to include all children in the secondary school system through a secondary entrance assessment is not the way to go. He says it puts children in situations they can't handle, and it's the society that has to take the blame.
Children are not at home and very students. If you're failing every examiner, how do you feel? We have to be helped because we accept an education system which is not doing what it should be doing.
Bahamas government says it is not monitoring the social media activity of residents. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Carl Bethel said it had been drawn to his attention that a post was being circulated purporting to warn users of alarming monitoring of social media. He said similar claims were made ahead of the general election. But Bethel denied that the government and its law enforcement agencies were engaged in the collection of any form of what is called metadata on the private social postings of residents. The Attorney General says any interception of any form of private communications can only take place in respect of a specific allegation of the commission of a crime under Bahamian law. Barbados is seeking to amend legislation as it moves to deal with tax avoidance and ensure a more transparent tax environment. Industry, International Business, Commerce and Small Business Development Minister Donville Innes said the Fundell Stewart administration is preparing Barbados' draft multilateral instrument position for signature before year end. He said Barbados is also moving to strengthen the anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism framework of the international business sector and Barbados' mutual evaluation report. Innes urged officials in the sector to embrace the challenging times and to take a proactive stance and equip their businesses and staff with the necessary skills, technologies, and knowledge to address new changes. A 5.2 magnitude earthquake hit Tobago on Friday morning, but there were no reports of injuries or damage to the island. The Seismic Research Center of the University of the West Indies said the quake, which occurred at 2:01 a.m. local time, was located about 270 kilometers east-northeast of Arima and in Trinidad and 212 kilometers southeast of Barbados, capital Bridgetown. And coming up in sport, advice from the West Indies captain to his men ahead of the weekend's first test against Zimbabwe. Stay with us. Sport is next.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the colour of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
How important is it for you to represent this evening? I tell you something. That's exactly what I've been.
I am so happy. I really am very happy. I am over the moon to be representing and just so happy to be here, a part of everybody that's come. You know, the islands are the place and, you know, seeing all the smiles. I love it.
That's right, because I don't know if you guys know, if as you see her on The Price is Right every day.
Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and CaribVision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today.
Well, cricket tops our weekend sports segment. West Indies captain Jason Holder has renewed calls for consistency in the performance of the senior side. This as they get set to take on Zimbabwe on Saturday. Holder was speaking ahead of the first test at Bulawayo. The West Indies are playing the low-ranked team on the heels of their 3-match series against Pakistan and England. Caribbean side won a test each in both sides. And Holder says the efforts the young team has been putting forward shows that they are taking a right step, a step in the right direction.
Getting into test cricket, we've done some really good things as a group. Still not a finished product, but I think we're heading in the right direction. And I'm really happy with the progress the team is making. With a young, inexperienced side, you have to be consistent. You've got to give guys as much opportunity as they possibly can. We will have players, there will be inconsistency, but we've got to stick with a set of players who we believe can take us forward. I think credit must go to the selection panel, the way we handle things. I think we've given players a really good run. It's been a situation where players, being able to find their feet on the international circuit. Going forward, just hope that the guys can be a lot more consistent, solidify themselves in the team, and just keep moving forward as a unit.
And the captain says he is expecting a tough fight against Zimbabwe.
Expecting a really good competition from these guys. They're obviously now fresh back onto the international circuit. The test arena, sorry. This is their first series back at home since they've been back in test cricket. Last year when we came here, they looked a really good side, very professional unit, and we expect nothing different from them in this test series. They've got the Bucharest side with Brendan Taylor and Phil Jarvis coming back, and those are two key guys for them, I would believe, going forward for them. So it should be a good contest here, a really good competition.
Meanwhile, head coach Stuart Law is envisioning a trial spin when West Indies clash in the opening test. The 16-man Zimbabwe squad comprises the likes of leg spinner Graham Kramer, left-arm spinners Sean Williams, Tendai Chisora, along with Malcolm Waller and Sikandar Raza, who can both bowl or breaks. And with West Indies having shown a weakness to slow bowling in the recent past, Zimbabwe will be hoping to use the conditions to their favour. Law said the Windies boasted a balanced attack with fast bowlers who could pose problems on any surface. Leg spinner David Rabishu is the Windies' only specialist spinner, but part-time off-spinners Roston Chase and Fred Rapid, both of whom boast 5-wicket hauls in tests, will be expected to play key roles. West Indies will bank on their knowledge of conditions at the Queen's Sports venue after playing 3 matches there last November in the Tri-Nation Series involving Sri Lanka and the hosts. Still in cricket now, Dasan Shanaka struck an aggressive unbeaten 100, but fast bowler Keon Joseph led a focused bowling effort to help restrict Sri Lanka A on the opening day of the second 4-day test on Thursday. The 26-year-old carved out 102, batting at number 7, an innings that led the tourists to 294 all out after they chose to bat first at the Trelawney Multipaper Stadium. Shanaka smashed 5 fours and 8 sixes off just 108 balls to lead a rally after Sri Lanka A struggled in the second session. But West Indies A then lost the momentum. They had first crashing to 14 for 2 at close in reply. Still 280 runs adrift of first innings lead heading into day 2. Now openers Marcus Hodge and John Campbell fell in the space of 6 deliveries in successive overs, leaving Captain Shamar Brooks and ninth watchman Damien to score to see the out day. Now right armour Joseph had earlier rattled Sri Lanka A, claiming 3 for 32, while leg spinner Damien Jacobs and off spinner Raheem Cornwall claimed 2 wickets apiece. Over to the women's division now, where West Indies women whipped Sri Lanka by 71 runs on the opening day of the first of 3 T20 internationals at the Coolidge Cricket Ground in Antigua on Thursday evening. Batting first, the regional side put on a respectable total, 140 for 4 in their 20 overs. Lily Matthews top scored with 37, while Captain Stephanie Taylor chipped in with 31, and Marissa Aguilera was unbeaten on 22. Left-arm spinner Iona Ranawira had figures of 2 for 35. In reply, the West Indies reduced the Sri Lankan side to 69 for 7 in their 20 overs, the side's third lowest total in T20 matches. Pithara Kanchana was the only batsman to score double figures, making 18 off 21 balls. But the evening belonged to medium pacer Shakira Selman, who took 2 wickets for 7, while off-spinner Anissa Mohammed finished the figures on 2 for 14. Switching sports, Grenada's national football team is gearing up for their international friendly against Panama. More on this report from the Grenada Broadcasting Network.
Have so far been confirmed to join the national senior football team for its friendly match against Panama next Tuesday. 21-year-old Cairo Mitchell, who is of Grenadian descent and previously played for Leicester City in the English Premier League, has been included on the squad, as well as 19-year-old Shandon Batiste of Oxford University. Shaman Louison, who plays in Trinidad, is no stranger to the national team, as well as Kennedy Hinkson, a defense right-back player. He has also been included for national duty. GBN Sports understands that the coaching staff is hoping to include 7 overseas-based players on the team for the practice friendly. Assistant coach on the team, Anthony Nixon Modest, spoke of a possible addition of players to the squad after the side was defeated Guyana 1-0 less than 2 weeks ago.
The guys are very, very good at coming up themselves, and anybody coming into the team has to rise to the occasion because they have left a mark on this game. I think more or less we may not bring it household changes, but we definitely will look for 2 or 3 here and there that can come in and strengthen the team because we know Panama is a much stronger opponent.
This prize was began.
That's for sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Sail with us through our ocean breeze, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
Again, the major developments of this day. Almost 200 people detained in Dominica for breaking curfew and looting in the wake of Hurricane Maria. And in sport, West Indies captain Jason Holder renews calls for consistency. The Caribbean side gets set to take on Zimbabwe this weekend. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports around the clock, log on to colonnews.com. We'll be back here again on Monday, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Have yourself